Very proud pit lane right now as the 944 Club, which normally run part of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships, get to shine on the big stage with the Shannons Nationals here this weekend. And even our very own Greg Russ grabbing himself a selfie there with the 944s, enjoying his time down there in pit lane with them there, like getting himself a photo of the aspirational race car. Darren Smith with you here, and Matt Dunlop for the first time on the Shannons Nationals live stream. Matt, welcome. Of course, you work very closely with the 944s as part of the Victorian State Circuit Racing Championships, and you've got some updates there from the pits overnight.
I certainly do, Darren. G'day everyone watching on as well. Good to have your company once again. Welcome to Winton Motor Raceway for Race 3 for the Porsche 944 Challenge here as part of the Shannons Nationals race weekend. We've had a few interesting incidents towards the end of that race there, particularly with Michael Westaway and Ken Rowland, the orange and white cars you just saw on your screen briefly there. Michael Westaway, it looked like those two had an incident. We didn't really catch it on our cameras, but what ended up happening was he just outbroke himself. And then for whatever reason, Ken Rowland's alternator belt had fallen off the car completely. So while he was celebrating a sure fourth place finish, his engine cut out and then cut back in and then cut back out again. So he was sort of not really sure if his car was going to make it across the line. But despite that, he managed to finish fifth. So good job for him. And as a result, he will start from fifth position in this race. Of course, the starting grid for this race being determined by the finishing results for race 2. We had a couple of other cars. That fluid that we saw leaking from the number 97 of Rob Holding, who finished in second place, turned out just to be a fuel overflow, so that should be completely rectified for today, and no deep down internal issues with the car there. Adam Brewer, you see the number 31 there, the black car with the orange stripes, clipped the wall on the exit of turn 2 on lap 1 of race 2, you may remember from yesterday, and that threw his camber out on his front left wheel to about 8 degrees or so it was a real struggle for him to make motor around, but he ended up finishing third. So let's take a look at the starting grid for this race. It is the ever-dominant Cameron Bella who's leading the round with 52 points, who starts on pole position. Rob Holding, as I mentioned earlier, has finished second, so he'll be on the front row for race 3. Adam Brewer.
Matt, who in the field, is there anyone in the field that has got iterations on themselves that think they can catch Cameron this weekend?
Well,
or even this season?
Oh, it's going to be a tough one. Jamie Westaway last year was probably one of the only blokes I remember seeing who had the sheer pace to be able to match him.
And we haven't even got Jamie in a car this weekend to try and challenge him.
We don't, unfortunately. So we know that Tony Westaway car is quick, but he's starting all the way back in position number 9 as a result of his off earlier. Adam Brewer's quick, but I'm not sure if he's going to be quick enough to catch Cameron Bella. We'll see what happens off the start with even Rob Holding on second position. He might make a strong challenge in the first few corners.
Whoever's going to do it has to beat Cam to the first corner, or at least be side by side with him through the S's, doesn't he?
That's exactly right, and be able to stay in front of him and just hold him back as long as possible so he can't get out in front and stretch away those gaps we've seen.
So the front row of the grid is a lockout with Cameron Bella and Holding there. Brewer in third, Michael Westaway in 4, Ken Rowland in 5, Mark Torbert's doing a terrific job to fight back from being further down the grid yesterday. He'll start out at 6, Tony Andrzejewski in 7, Peter James back to Anthony Westaway, Winter, Jamie Mitchell, Doherty and Vernoris rounding it out. Of course, we'll touch on the new involvement directly with Porsche Cars Australia. The cars running there, all the field now running with the Porsche banner across their windscreen, which is fantastic. A really good junior development program been announced recently with that. We'll get this race underway for race 3 for the weekend. It'll be 9 laps. It's going to be short, sharp and punchy here for the 944 Challenge as they get themselves set to go. 5-second board being readied by our start officials and being cleared off the wall there, some of the teams as well. So teams in hold mode right now. Nervous moments for these drivers, not pro race drivers. These are all amateurs or gentlemen racers. We'll see how much gentlemanly they are as they go burning down into turn 1 as the famous funnel into turn 1 here. 5 seconds. Everyone's keen to get away. Off the rev limiter with the Porsche 944s.
The lights are ablaze. They're getting ready. The tension's rising and they're away. We are underway at Winton. It's a fantastic start from Cameron Bella. Rob Holding looked to bog it down a little bit. And now Adam Brewer's going to be looking to challenge for second place as they come towards turn 1. Tony Westaway desperately holding off some of those back markers as he charges up, as we see quite a few lockups into that turn 1. Tony Andrzejewski trying to profit off Jimmy Mitchell, running a little bit too wide on the exit of that corner. But look at the gap that Cameron Bella already has, and Rob Holding is now just trying to fight off that number 31 of Adam Brewer.
You get the feeling that there's 2 commentators in the booth here urging the other 15 cars on to try and go with Cam Bella here, but it's Holding and Brewer that got away well. Have a look at this charging run by Tony Westaway. He's making up spots hand over fist through the first bunch of corners. There's car 1. He is leading the way, as you would suggest. Car 1 on the road, car 1 on the side there, defending champion. He took 3 from 3 at this particular round last year. He took 3 from 3 at Sandown as well, at the previous state round as well.
But, he certainly did. He's been...
didn't take the round here at the state round, though, here at Winton.
No, he did not. He had some issues with his engine, which meant he couldn't qualify. He couldn't finish the first 2 races, so he wasn't able to get the car out for race 3. So he didn't score any points whatsoever for round 3 of the state series, which was here last time out at Winton. But every other race, all other 11 races so far, including the 2 we've seen so far this weekend, he has finished top step of the podium with a perfect 286 points so far to his name.
I get the feeling we're looking at the race here between 2nd and 3rd at the moment. This is Rob Holding and Brewer. They're doing a nice job. Adam Brewer in the number 31 there. Probably shouldn't write them off just yet to be able to put their head down for the next 4 or 5 laps at least to try and stay with Campbell. But you get the feeling they're going to start battling with each other, don't you?
They certainly are, and that's just going to be music to the ears of Cameron Bella. That's going to allow him to pull away that gap even more, because while these guys are trying to attack and defend each other, they're going to be drifting off the ideal lines for a fast lap around this circuit, and Cameron Bella, with no direct competition around him, will be able to put in what is essentially qualifying laps all the way to the end of this race.
It really is quite testament to Cameron Bella, and this might sound strange to some people. When you're out in front and you're trying to tick off fast laps, and you're not having anyone hound you or push you, it's quite hard to keep yourself motivated to get those lap times going. And we saw that this car, and in fact we saw Adam Brewer yesterday after 9 laps still being able to set the fastest laps of the race. So that's a good testament to the Yokohama control tyre that this category uses, that the tyre is still good at the end of a race to be able to set fastest laps. Have a look at that over the ripple strips. Brewer right on cue there, getting aggressive, trying to cut that middle part of the cleavage short there at the gum tree and bouncing it off the ripple strip here. It's probably one of the only cars we've got racing at this round of the Shannons Nationals that can really bounce off ripple strips. A little bit softer sprung to the TCR cars, and certainly a lot softer than the prototypes which we just saw in the previous race. But here is, as I said a lap or so ago, this is going to be the battle of the race. The BCRE car of Holding and then Brewer, and we go back to have a look at this, Westaway. Doing a nice job indeed, charging pretty hard at it.
Yeah, so they're resuming their battle they had in race 2 yesterday, and what a battle that was. We saw Michael Westaway set his personal best lap around this circuit during that race, actually a 1 minute 34.6, and he was absolutely wrapped with that. And that's one of the beauties of these series. You can sort of jump in, set your own goals, because there's no real there's no massive pressure to be able to perform well. It's purely down to what you can do as a driver, as he has a lunge and tries to pass 2 guys at once. Michael Westaway, they're 3 wide going through turn 3. That's unbelievable stuff. And Michael Westaway is up to 2nd, and Adam Brewer's around. He's been touched by Ken Rowland. They've kicked up a massive cloud of dust, and there's chaos down there at turn 4. A lot of these drivers are trying to get through there unscathed. There's a couple of drivers taken to the grass there. I think Rob Holding's still having a bit of an excursion there, losing all that ground he made up in race 2, and now the order is all over the place. Michael Westaway was a big beneficiary of that one. We can see him just going past the camera now, and now Mark Torbett's car number 3 is in P3.
Just going over to turn 4 there. Looks like a bit of the Eureka Rush rally for the ARC and VRC up at Ballarat last week, and dust up everywhere. What a great weekend it was for the Eureka Rush rally as well at Ballarat. But this is the 944s, and they went dirt-wise. All that has done, Matt, is given Cameron Bella such an opportunity. Here we go again. There's a touch. There's a tag. We go around wide, off into the dirt. Both sides of the track, almost Days of Thunder style through the smoke, emerging their drive to the smoke. Come out the other side. They'll be all clear. And that's what we've got in the 944s. Westaway now. Tony Westaway. Have a look at this guy's moving through the field. Started down in 10th. Finds himself into 5th now. So the big mover in the field. Brad Winter, unfortunately, has gone to the lane. Hasn't taken part in this race, and that's a shame for the number 22.
We are also missing Richard Howe as well. He was having gearbox issues this morning. His gear shifter wasn't selecting gears he was asking for. Sometimes we'll be going to 5th and 3rd and creating all sorts of problems. So he hasn't started this race, unfortunately. So it is a 13-car race now down to a 12-car field, as Brad Winter, as you mentioned, was not able to start the race. He had issues yesterday with that fuse missing, or that fuse blown in his car. We see a helicopter landing there at the helipad on the back of the circuit. But
that's your lift home, Matt?
Oh, I hope so. Cameron Bella, meanwhile, at the front is streaking away. He's already made it to round 5 of the State Series.
Have a look at Mark Torbets. Started out of 6th. He's found his way into a podium position in P3.
He has. Fantastic job from Mark Torberts. Was able to benefit from that unfortunate incident at turn 4 earlier in the race. Clean cut through the smoke and the dust and the gravel flying up in the air, and he's put himself in a fantastic position. Now he's just got to hold off Tony Westaway and Adam Brewer behind him. Two absolutely rapid guys, as we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Mark Torbert's going to have his handful. He has right now, in fact. Great to see Mark getting up into a podium position. Works very, very hard behind the scenes to keep the 944 challenge on track for everybody. Does the deal with the Shannons Nationals to get on the big platform here at Winton. And he's coming under big fire now from Tony Westaway. Just get the feeling that number 3 is going to get about 2 or 3 metres wider as they come onto the straight. He's going to run through the gearbox and try and keep these two behind him. The thing that Tony Westaway's got to watch out for is the very rapid Brewer, and then Ken Rowland, who was massive in the middle sector of yesterday's race.
Yeah, so we're seeing a great 4-car battle appear now for that final podium spot. The gap between second and third is now up to about 5-6 seconds, so Michael Westaway has himself found a big gap as well. He's still quite some way off Cameron Bella. I think the gap between first and third is evenly split by that number 45 orange car. So this battle here for 4th position as they go past all the gunk on the track at turn 4, the battle for 3rd position is one of the hottest battles we're seeing on track at this moment, and it's really anyone's game. Anyone could make an unfortunate error. Someone could have a massive lunge up the inside of a bend, as we saw Tony Westaway doing. Tony's taking a very defensive line there. Adam's peeking around the outside. Nothing he can do there on the entrance into turn 7.
Good stuff here. Now the challenge behind is on, and around goes Brewer. For the second time he finds the dirt, and that's the best part of 5 loops there. And will he grab a cog, or is he just grabbing himself, making sure things are all A-OK there in the inside that 944? Gathers it all up. Talk about 0 to 0 there for number 31. That's a horrible outcome. Challenging for the spot. You can't take anything away from him for showing the energy to at least challenge. There it is. Locked it up before he left. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3 loops. Lucky only surface loops, those ones.
He did lose a bit of time though, because these cars do run transaxles, so he would have stalled it during that spin, and that would have been a few crucial more seconds to get that car running again and back on track. And the unfortunate result of that is he drops right down the order to what will be 8th position, I believe, once he crosses the start-finish line. So
in skateboard land at 1080.
He would have got a gold medal at the X Games for sure with that move.
Absolutely. BMX World at 1080. That's what he just did.
And the battle for 3rd is now down to just 2 cars, Mark Torberts and Tony Westaway. And these guys are going to be duking it out very shortly, I'm sure. The gap between them is pretty much negligible at this point. There's always space for lunges, especially in this back half of the circuit. They're just coming towards turn number 5 now. Not a huge amount they can do in the first half of this track. It's mostly a case of follow the leader, unless your car is that much faster than your opponent.
I tell you what though, if Tony Westaway can dispense with Mark Torberts, which I think might be a bridge too far away, because Mark Torberts is driving the race of his life right here. This is some really good racing by Mark at the moment. We would have 2 Westaways on the podium, 2nd and 3rd.
We certainly would. The Westaway family, as some of those who have followed the 944 series for some time would know, is an esteemed racing clan in the state series especially, and Tony's son Jamie, as we mentioned earlier, being an absolutely rapid steerer himself, but none more so rapid than Cameron Bella, who's currently leading the race as he usually does. He crosses the start-finish line now to start what will be lap 7 with a gap of over 8 seconds on Michael Westaway. We'll have to see how that updates once Michael crosses the line, but Bella is resuming his winning ways, and he's not just winning, he's winning by a long shot.
He's giving him a bit of a lesson, isn't he? He's just driving away there, not putting a foot wrong, easing his way up and down through the gearbox, and not really stressing the car too much by having to zig and zag and defend and attack like we're seeing with these two. And just like we called in the last prototype race, this racing can get very willing, but more often than not, we don't see too many bent-up cars. There's a fair bit of respect given between the Porsche 944 Challenge guys. Now, let's just touch on this new involvement with Porsche Cars Australia, Matt.
Yeah, so what's happened is since round 3 of the State Series Championship, a deal has been announced between the Porsche 944 Challenge and Porsche Australia. And that deal means that the 944 Challenge is now a part of the Porsche Young Driver Development Program. So the winner of the State Series gets the opportunity to have a GT3 Cup car track experience up at Queensland Raceway, valued at $7,000. And Cameron Bella as the champion of last season, took that opportunity, and from what I gathered from his dad and those who were there, he was very rapid and he was very, very consistent in this car. And what Cameron Bella's dad, Andy, told me actually is that these cars are a fantastic learning opportunity because they don't have a huge amount of power, so it's really important to maintain the momentum around every circuit, so it really teaches you how to drive a car.
Certainly a very good inclusion, and good on Porsche for getting behind ultimately their customers. They were their customers, nearly 20 years ago when they bought these cars. So really, really good to see them supporting their own brand and keeping them, I guess, in-house with it. It's definitely exciting, and Porsche at the moment in Australia have got huge investment in junior development, right from the Pace Carrera Cup into the Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge as well. Lots of junior programs and a lot of money, importantly, a lot of money. Let's face it, that's the sport. It's all about dollars and cents, and that's it's really good. It's great to have such a good synergy between the factory and the Porsche 944 Challenge. Really enjoy that they're involved and throwing it essentially support behind a state series category.
That's exactly right. Mark Torbett's driving very defensively now, meanwhile in the race for third, trying to make that number 3 944 as wide as he possibly can to stop Tony Westaway from getting past it. Maybe futile, but he's looking pretty good. He takes a bit of a wide line into turn 7, trying to get a late apex through there to stop the crisscross happening, I believe. But this is a fantastic battle, and I reckon Tony is going to be sizing up some good passing opportunities for the later stages of this race.
Yeah, and the synergies here is that car 3 is currently third in this race, and I reckon he wants to hang on to it, and whatever the 28 throws at him, I reckon he might have some covering fire for it at the moment. We've got a lap and a half left to go in this race. Cameron Bella has got a healthy, almost 10-second lead over Michael Westaway. Then he goes back to 4.5 seconds to this battle we're looking at with Mark Torbets and Tony Westaway. I'm not about to call it yet because Tony Westaway is closing in under brakes at that penultimate corner, right near that pit entry road and coming on to the pit straight.
If Mark Torbets can hold on to this third place, it will be his best finish of the season so far. But now Tony is all over his back bumper. I don't think he's going to do much into turn 1. Tony's going to the outside. Mark has jumped on the anchors on the inside, but this could play into Tony's benefit. Oh, big lose there for Tony Westaway. Kept it all together through turn 1. This is fantastic stuff. Sliding these cars all over the place. There's just going to be a little bit more of a gap between them now at turn 3. So Tony's got a bit more work to do if he can get up in front of him by the end of this race. But Mark Torbets is really counting his blessings after that one.
The good thing about having these two on screen all the way to the end of this race is that these two are the hard chargers. They both came from buried down the field. Torbets out of 6 and Tony out of 10th. So these guys, not only are they having a hard race, they're the hard chargers in this one as well. Most improved places between both of them. Just reward to get these two cars to the finish, albeit that it'll be only Mark in the black at the moment, number 3 on the podium. Let's wait and see. You get the feeling that the 28's got a dive bomb set up for a couple of those last corners leading into corners 10 and 11.
Yeah, I reckon Tony's got a little bit of a trick up his sleeve that he's waiting to bust out at the moment, but Cameron Bella is still leading the way by a huge margin. He's just about to come around the final corner now, turn 12. Onto the pit straight, he's charging down now towards the control line. The checkered flag is out and ready for him, and Cameron Bella will win race 3 to add to his victories in race 1 and race 2, and he will take out yet another perfect round of the Porsche 944 Challenge. Great job from Cameron Bella.
Terrific result there. That's 3 from 3. He's got one more race this afternoon at 3:45.
Mark Torbets has fallen off the track.
Torbets?
He's fallen off. Tony Westaway has taken a completely unbattled for third, and there he is. Mark Torbets has crossed the line in, I think, 5th position. So I think he's at an off-track excursion. I saw a big plume of dust kicked up earlier, and I wasn't sure whose car it was, but it must have been that of Mark Torbets. I'm not sure if there was a contact between them or Mark just felt too much under pressure and lost it all on his own. But yeah, there's been a big change there, so unfortunate for Mark Torbets to fall out of the podium spots. But it is now Cameron Bella who takes the race win and the round victory, and Michael and Tony Westaway, the brothers, will fill at the podium. That's a great result for the Westaway clan. Ken Rowland in the number 4 car will finish in 4th position, ahead of Mark Torbets, as we mentioned, who came across the line in 5th, ahead of Peter James, who's had a great recovery to come up to 6th in what is essentially a Franken car built out of his 2 spares after a crash at Sandown. Adam Brewer, unfortunately, has finished in 7th after those couple of incidents earlier in the race. Tony Andrzejewski held on to finish 8th, ahead of Peter Doherty in 9th and Jimmy Mitchell in 10th.
the takeaways out of that is that Adam Brewer will be charging hard from for race 4 at 3:45 this afternoon. This is the guy that just won the race. Now as we go to the highlights off the start, Cam Bella has that clutch take up, just bang, and he's in second gear, meters before anyone else is even thinking about it, and driving away from the field. There goes the guy that ultimately got home in in third place, charging through there, Mark Torbett. So there's the battle, the 3 and the 28, just middle of the screen there now. That was the battle we followed all race long. Unfortunately, we'll try and get to the bottom of what happened with Mark Torbett's ultimately home in 6th place there as well. So we'll keep an eye out on that one and see what happens. So great battles. This was where we saw Brewer his first time around because he went off the track and went off the sweeper as well. And this was a little bit like autocross almost, which they hold here at Winton on a regular basis. There he is again. Fortunately, the number 31 spinning off the 1080. Good points in a BMX X Games, but not such good points in the Porsche 944 Challenge. And here was the battle that raged for about 80% of the race. Mark Torbett's led about 99% of it, and then it all came a cropper. Have a look at Westaway, just about looped it, managed to hang on, and here comes our race winner, Cameron Bella, to the line in number 1.
Just a great shot there of the aftermath of that spin earlier.
Yeah, lots of dust in the background, so it must have been at turn 10 where Torbett's went west.